Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We're next day here on this John Deere A-head. I was just looking at how rough this is. We'll probably even turn this face down on the mill, and I'll probably mill this whole. I'm not going to take the guides out, which would make it easy. I just don't want to spend the money on this thing. You know, we've all seen what kind of a mess this tractor was. So now it's make everything work. So what I wanted to show you, you see that gap right there? Get it from the other end so my hand's out in the way. As you can see, there's quite a oscillation there. So what we're going to do, I'm going to heat it right here. Just blow that head right there. Nice and orange. Maybe a dull red, I don't know, whatever I feel like. Then we're going to set it back against it like that with a hammer and slap it. And let it set up against the seat and see how it works. When it cools, we'll see if we have a straight valve or not. This tractor is a John Deere A. It turns 1,075 RPM wide open with no load. If you're running a sawmill and they come down to where they're pulling their horsepower, they run about 975. Might even go down a little more than that, but not a lot. So they're low RPM. I'm not afraid to try this. I wouldn't do it on a racing engine, but we're gonna see what happens. Probably should have had some leather gloves with me, but that's all right. We'll use the hammer to tap it. Normally the intakes don't come under very much heat, so they never really turn red. The exhaust turn red regularly, so a lot of people don't realize that. The exhaust valve's running, you know, glowing when it's working. So that looks pretty good. I don't know if you can see that or not, but we'll brought you up a little better so you can see a little better. I'm sure that heat sunk into the middle now. So now we will just take that and we will just see whether or not that aligned it or not. Boy, it's close, but it still didn't quite get it. It's all right, we'll try it a little more. I'll try this 2 or 3 times here until I am happy with it. And once I'm happy with it, it's actually an intake valve we're working with, but I thought it would be easier out on the exhaust one. But maybe it'll set better on the intake. Anyway, I'll bring you back here if I get this thing straightened out. Okay, this next time, I put it in the intake hole where it belonged. And tapped it good with a hammer, get you setting steady. I think that will grind in. So that was 2 heats and 2 taps. And this thing was really frigged up. So, yeah, I think we're going to be good. I'll wire wheel it and take a good look at it. Might even glass beat it. And I'll bring you back that valve in. We'll actually grind it together on the grinder. Well, I walked over here and was going to do those intake valves. And, you know, I got looking this thing over. And I decided, you know something? I guess I'll clean it before I make a video of doing valves with it. This thing ain't been cleaned, literally, for probably 25 years. So I'm going to take an hour or so here and clean it. And I'll bring you back when I get it cleaned. Okay, so I've got it somewhat cleaned up. We'll get that about where it belongs. And we'll see what happens. bet it's got margin enough, it'll handle it. Yeah, it's probably out 20 thousandths or so. I could sharpen my stone and it would grind a lot faster, but right now it's fairly dull and does a very nice smooth job, which I like. I'll come into it. I'm going to put just a little more oil in my reservoir here. Keep the valve from getting so hot. Well, we're touching all the way around now. We just got to get it so it's hitting the whole surface. Let's see if it's good enough for an old John Deere. Oh, I got a little tiny spot right there. As you can see, there is a difference in the margin. Not going to worry about it. If this is for a customer, I would worry about it. But, you know, because then you're trying to sell parts, so. Take that off there and let's see what it looks like. A little bad spot there, but I think it's going to go. I'm going to do the other 3 of them because I got 2 sets I'm doing. And of course, to do the other end, it's just as easy. Of course, I say that, it's so hot I can't hang on to it. So, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I didn't bother filming doing this end, it's just flat grinding. So, these all cleaned up. I got a good margin. The only thing I don't like about that one is that spot right there. But like I say, it's a John Deere. I think it'll run fine on it. The intakes, I've got a spot there I'm not really happy about, but I'm pretty sure that the seed actually runs out beyond that. So those are all going to work. They got good margin on them. The other set that came out of that head, the exhaust look phenomenal. Not that big of a margin, but they're actually in a little better shape than these are. So why wouldn't I, right? This one I'll leave, but we'll take that worst pitted one on the stem. We'll take it out of this equation anyway. Now it comes to all the machining on this. So I'll bring you back when I get set up to cut these seats. That's going to be a while. I gotta make the tool to hold the cutter. Gotta make one of these in a 1/2 inch dimension instead of 7/16. So we'll see about doing that. We're in the process of making a larger guide. So we'll see how things go here. A little bit of a rough finish because I'm actually turning that with the thread, and yeah, I am basically 5 thousandths over. So I'm going to go get a file and we'll file this down. This right here is to size, but I did that by hand and then I turned it, put it in the auto feed there, dropped the half knot at 112 threads to the inch. That's what I've been doing my turning with because my regular carriage feed is broke. But anyway, I'll bring you back in a minute. Yeah, we're 3 over. Took a couple off in it. Yeah, still 3 over, so I don't really know what the guide dimension is. It's supposed to be 1/2 inch, but it might be a little over. I can take this down anytime. So I'm going to stop on that. I'm going to go up here, and that's going to be turned to this size here. I'm not going to leave you guys on for the whole thing. Maybe I'll put you on time lapse, I guess. Well, that's how it came out. So we'll take a guide here. Doesn't matter which one. Exhaust or intake. I'm a little tight by probably 2/1000, 3/1000. So I'm just going to go put this in the vise. I mean, back in the lathe rather. And I'm going to just keep filing until I get it down to where it'll slide in nice. And might take me a half a dozen trips, so I'm not going to film it. But I'll bring you back when I get it all done. Well, I just come back. You can see a little bit of rust on there. That's the loosest one. It's probably 1/1000, maybe 2 clearance. That one's, you can feel it, but you can't see it. This one there's none whatsoever. And this one here, there's none. So they're pretty much less than 1/1000 on them two. There's probably 2/1000 on those. But that's good enough. So now I'm going to bore this out for a 1/4" bolt. I'm actually not going to thread it. I'm just going to make it a clearance so that I can drop a bolt in it. I'm going to put the red high-strength Loctite to it. Hit it with a torch a little to accelerate it. And we will have a stud sticking out of there. Because that should be within, yeah, right there, only, what is that, 3/16 in. So that's about how we wanted it. Okay, so I've washed these out with brake clean. I even went and washed my hands. You do not want grease and oil if you're going to get this stuff to work. Well, my nozzle is stock, of course. So anyway, get some of this stuff slobbered on here. This is the 271 high strength. I'd love awful well there to get a drop in there so it'll push it out. And then I'd have 100%. That should be enough that it'll push it up. There we go. That is 100% filled with Loctite. So what we're going to do is just wipe off the excess. I'm going to put a little heat to this, if I can find the striker for the torch, which I cannot. I'll be back. I'm not going to get it real hot, but probably 100, 150 degrees. Just enough so it's good and uncomfortable to hang on to. Yeah, just about there. I'm going to quit. And that will set that right up with not too much trouble. It's actually set up enough right now that I can go show you how this is going to work. So what we've been building is I'm going to put it in without pounding that thread too much there. Come on. What do I got? A little bit of oh, it's probably because it's hot. I bet that's why it won't go in there. For those of you who don't understand what I've been building, that goes in through the guide, gets held on with a knurled knot, and then this will set over that shaft, and it turns nice and slow, and it will cut out the old seat to put this one in with a little bit of press fit. And this here is the machine. Put it on slow speed for cutting out seats. This here goes in there, nothing to it. And if you're doing reaming and the other stuff, you drop that down and it'll turn fast for reaming and drilling. So we're going to be using it on the slow speed right there. So anyway, okay, I just went over real quick, and all I had to do was just hit it with a file. There was a burr on the end. So that's what holds it in. You just walk that right up with your hand. You don't have to have it like killed tight, because it's tight in the guide anyway. And then this, well, I might actually have to just take that down half a thou. I'll probably put that in a vise. I'll have to fine tune this. Boy, that feels like there's a little bit of a burr there from when I did the last machining, when I put that bevel on. Anyway, you see the idea. It's going to go up. When you come back for the next video, I will have these little problems all ironed out, and it'll be working real smooth. Next video will be putting the seats in that head. So, yeah, I hope everybody out there is keeping safe, and don't hesitate to hit the like button and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks for coming along.